Guy told me he would only date me if I met his standards in bed. I was talking to this guy for 2 months. We went on dates and really liked each other. I thought everything was great. One day sex came into one of our conversations and he told me that he would only date me if I was good enough in bed and if I could satisfy him enough, otherwise he didn't want to talk to me anymore. I agree sex is important in a relationship, but I also feel like what he said to me was messed up. I quit talking to him after that because I don't want to be used for my body and sex. Sometimes I think about it and I miss him and want to message him, but I hold off. Is it just me or was it wrong for him to say that? I doubt this guy is good in bed. I wouldn't want to be in a relationship with a person like that. You didn't want to audition in bed for a chance at possible dating him. I'm guessing most women would do the same. If you ignore this very clear early warning that he will not be a good partner, then you are a fool. Oh girl, no, run. I once was with an asshole who told me that he would only love me as long as I could provide good sex. I doubted myself as you are, making excuses for him. Long story short, he ended up raping me. If you're looking for someone to have unrealistic expectation for you and try to control all aspects of your life hereafter, then look no further. If you want a long-term relationship, then his method is wrong and is very one-sided. Sexual compatibility is important, but you can't base that on one day. Not really something I would tell someone I was dating as well. On the one hand, he's only saying what we're all thinking, winking face. On the other hand, to say it out loud is a colossal red flag. There's something very wrong about him. Move on. The way he said this is a huge red flag. If he'd said, hey, before we make anything official, I think it's important to make sure we are compatible physically. I really care about you and enjoy you, but I think intimacy is very important for my relationships, it would be less concerning. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be sexually compatible. But saying he wants to make sure you meet his standards? So weird, gross. I seriously doubt he would be a good boyfriend or good in bed. Imagine if you said, same. Would you then expect a man who makes such statements to lead a life in which you give each other positive feedback and equal effort in the bedroom? Good for you for not taking the bait. The way I see this play out is that if you have sex with him, his conquest is over and he dumps you. Don't call him. Definitely wrong and a bit gross. What does good in bed even mean? Surely sex is about both your needs and likes and making each other feel good? It was definitely wrong. That's just so sideways to say. I have the same requirement, but I am not stupid and tactless enough to say it aloud. Lots of people seem to have that standard. This guy just outright said it. Have you ever told a friend about a date? Yeah, the sex was awful, we're going out again next week. Still, he sounds like he's probably an ass. Sounds like an insecure man who feels entitled to displace that anxiety by issuing absurd challenges to people who, objectively, have nothing to prove to him. Most healthy adults would find that sort of thing absurd. It's up to you if the unhealthiness is a deal-breaker or worth learning more about. If you liked him, there's at least a chance this is a paper-thin defense mechanism he's not actually committed to, but you should confront it and find out for sure before you let him get under your skin. He's testing your self-respect and boundaries. To see what you'll allow. Run, block, don't look back. This kind of men should really kick themselves out of this planet, really. If he said that to you, it means all he cares is about himself and his own selfishness. So you better get the hell away from him, girl. Just throw the whole man out and start over. I bet he's also the type that doesn't go down on girls. Run. Don't waste your time with this guy. My ex was exactly like that. He kept complaining that I'm supposed to be freaky and extremely adventurous in bed 'cause I'm Asian. He's still single since we broke up, 4 years ago, and I can see why, lol. No one wants to deal with that, and it's a messed up standard. Yeah, sex is important in a relationship, but for him to tell you this before you guys ever even get to that point, makes it feel like he's expecting you to audition for him or something. Somebody who actually cares about you would let it happen naturally and communicate with you about what they like, not threaten to break up with you if you don't perform to their standards. Don't you dare message that prick. What about your standards? Please. He's probably a shit lover who blames it on his partner instead of being a decent person. That guy sucks. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say he's not even considering a romantic relationship with you, he just thinks this will make you sleep with him. Afterwards he'll say he wasn't feeling it, or he'll keep going for a second, third, fourth try. If he was genuinely interested in you as a person outside of your potential sexual qualities, he wouldn't say he won't speak to you anymore if you don't satisfy him. He'd at least consider staying friends. He doesn't respect you. I met up a guy with these types of conditions. We never got to the sex part, but he was up front with his list. It was very off-putting and a red flag. My mistake was, I wished I didn't go see him in the coffee shop because the way he treated me killed my confidence for a good while. One of his conditions, he will end the date if the person he met does not mentally stimulate him in the first 15 minutes. He ended it within 5 minutes. But hey, at least your guy told you early on so you can run. Without the context of his personality, it's hard to say. Sexual compatibility is extremely important. It sounds like intimacy is important to him, and he doesn't want to mess around. Maybe his ex is a prude, I don't know. If you're into him, then I suggest communication. Say exactly what you think, how you thought his comments came across, and how it made you feel. Then you can base your decision on more information. He wants sexual compatibility, which is a good thing. He's just horrible with his words. That's just every woman on earth, but he had the courtesy to make it clear from the start. What's the problem? Dude needs a fleshlight. Not to demand good sex. I applaud you for ending things then and there. Definitely do not turn back. You made the right decision. He sounds like a total tool. Thank the heavens he gave himself away so soon, and run for your life. If he acts this way at the start of your relationship, imagine the type of person he'd be if you progress further. Thank you. Next. Those are the words of a man that has never given another person an orgasm. Don't waste your time. Well, that's disgusting. Good call on leaving him behind. He honestly sounds like the type of guy to pressure you into sex, leave you for someone else, cheat on you for sex, especially if he feels you've been bad at it or haven't been in the mood. That's a huge red flag, and he sounds like scum. Don't message again. I guess it was nice of him to let you know right away what an ass he is. It's okay for him to have criteria for who he wants to date, I suppose, but that's pretty fucking mercenary. I wonder what he would say if you told him that you had a salary threshold and wouldn't perform well sexually for anyone who earned less than $X. Duh. He's probably a bad lay in bed and wants you to do all the work. What he said isn't so much an issue as when he said it and maybe how he said it. Personally, I refuse to have a sexless relationship. I have certain interests and needs that I need fulfilled. I am willing to be flexible. I am more than happy to return the favor. If it was that big a deal, he should have said it from the get-go, and you make it sound like this is his demand, not a requirement. I don't hear, hey listen, if this is going to work out. I don't want to drag something out that will just hurt us. I hear, haha, now that you're emotionally invested I demand you meet whatever standard you decide for sex or I will leave you. He sounds like a manipulative prick. I would treat him as such. Please don't date this person. Proud of you, how he said that seems off. You were right to swerve. He failed the standards of being a decent person. What a selfish, shallow, and controlling thing to say. He's an ass. Next. Location flag. If I could post a bigger red flag, I would cause this as a huge red flag. Run sis. I've had variations of this convo, said more nicely, and it didn't work out. Felt like I was being tested and I didn't enjoy it. What I'm trying to say is that it doesn't really need to be said. If you're not sexually compatible, you'll more than likely know without feeling like you're being graded on a performance. Talk about what you like, dislike, but working without a rubric. Thanks but no thanks. Wow, that is pretty rude. Sex changes throughout a relationship. Sometimes it gets better, sometimes worse. If someone is straight up stating that they'll leave someone over it, you have to wonder what they'd do if there was a period of illness or stress where sex isn't a priority later in the relationship. Would they be straight out the door? Also, that's a lot of pressure to have sex under. The more relaxed and comfortable you are, the better the sex, and how relaxed and comfortable are you going to feel when sex feels like a job interview, unless that's your kink? What do you miss? You can probably get whatever it is from someone else. The Tim Minchin song, If I Didn't Have You, comes to mind. It was definitely a red flag that he's not very bright. Sex is always different, there's no standard way to have sex with someone. It can be great if you actually are into your partner and not just using them for sex. I think you made the right call not pursuing a relationship with him. TBH, I literally chuckled out loud at what he said. I would have laughed at his face. Not only is rude, even if he got what he wanted and negged someone into sexing him up, it would be so much pressure on the poor woman that it isn't good sex. I agree with the other comments that he is probably bad at sex. He just wants to get sex, lol. Good chance he would get you in bed and bail. And it's likely a pattern so he never has to commit and then you can't complain because, I told you I won't date you if it was bad. He's trash. Just move on. I'm going to offer a different opinion. It's okay he shared this concern with you. Can this be a problem? Well, what are the other red flags? If he is caring and attentive and doesn't exhibit any other character flaws, being upfront about a deal breaker like expectations in the bedroom can be a good thing, and his approach to that was mature. Could it have been too soon? Would that make some people uncomfortable? Probably. But if sex is important for you and you have expectations too, he doesn't have to be the bad guy for not wasting yours or his time.